好きよ。ハーフボイルド。
Huh?
She said she likes my show, bro. This is MJ. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an analyzer. Find all my work at mjmunoz.com. Henshin Inspection presents Half Boiled. Hard takes on a half-boiled PI and his much cooler friends. And as you heard, this is Tokime's favorite Tokusatsu analysis show. I will be discussing the hits and misses of Fuuto PI Episode 3 and the subject of transformation. This is Half-Boiled number 3, I Don't Mind Half-Boiled. I wonder if that translation should actually be I kind of like half-boiled, because she says ski something. Suki is love, right? I love, whatever. Anyway, I'm not a Japanese linguist. Some might say I'm not even a cunning linguist, but still, I argue, I submit that perhaps the line should be I don't mind. Anyway, or I kind of like, as opposed to I don't mind. But, you know, translation is an art, not a science, so we will move on from there. I will get straight into the hits of Kamen Rider W. No. Kamen Rider W's Fuuto PI, Episode 3. I thought the combat was absolutely marvelous. I loved seeing for a moment there, I thought, did they rotoscope some of these fights? But I think they just watched the Tokusatsu and they captured how Mr. Seiji Takawa, Mr. Kamen Rider himself, fought as the 2-in-1 detective, and they put that into the show. Now, what's even greater, though, than them just capturing the exact movements of the character, is I feel like they were really able to, I guess this is Studio Kai, that's what I've heard, they were really able to elevate it and make Tokusatsu look great as anime, and they put it to a new level. They were doing new things, different things. They were doing things in animation that you can't really do in live action. You could do it with CGI, yes, but it would look goofy and it would stretch credulity. In animation, things just work. You can do more ridiculous things and it feels right, it feels better, and it feels understated if you don't do those things in a lot of ways. And I love the translation of double into, Toku double into anime double, because like I said, I think Studio Kai just nailed it. There are huge gales of wind around him. He was using like a wind shield at one point. The Luna trigger, or I guess really the Luna aspect, always looked crazy with the arms going everywhere, but it looked really cool, and it looked a little freaky and grotesque, but I liked it. I thought it was good. It's, all the goodness of Mr. Fantastic, wrapped up in, I don't know, what, Dick Tracy's coat? That doesn't make sense. Anyway, but it was good, and I really liked that. I also really appreciated the bike chase. Again, I love the bike chases and not races. I was going to say races, but they're not really races. In the original Kamen Rider, it looks good in the manga. It looks good in the 1971 show. And every now and then they do really great bike chases and such in an episode of Kamen Rider. I'm thinking of Wizard's debut right now. I don't remember if it was part 2 or the first episode specifically. I feel like it was the second episode more than the first, but regardless. No, because you think the guy dies in the first episode and then he comes back in the second. So that's what it was. Anyway, I'm thinking that one for sure. And honestly, that last episode was it the last episode? Has there been a bike chase in each episode so far? I kind of think there has been, but I don't know for sure. One chase was against Tokime, which might have been the second episode, but was probably the first. And then the other chase was chasing Road Dopant down. Oh my gosh, I just passed an Ecto 1. Not a real one, it just passed me actually. Oh, that's so cool. It's not actually an Ecto 1, it just has some decals and it feels similar. But anyway, sorry, I really love Ghostbusters, so that was super cool. He's going too fast, I can't catch him. Anyway, I'm leaving this in, by the way. So yeah, the chase was really cool, and I love that Road makes gross roads for himself. He spits them out, which is disgusting, and then he rides on him, and that's how he's able to he crossed this chasm. And Shotaro and Philip used the wind power of Cyclone to get across, and I thought that was really dope, and it was just cool. I liked it because, it was a good chase. So it was a good chase, it was cool. There was lots of action in it, lots of fighting. I love when he got the gun out too, and started blasting him too. Actually, I like too that he didn't just shoot the Dopant, he actually used the environment. He shot like a cable holding a bunch of girders, and they drop down. I don't know why every time now I see girders dropping on somebody, I can't help but think of the first episode of Poitrine, where there's a phantom thief who steals video games from kids, and Poitrine drops. I don't think it's girders, but they're in a construction yard, and she, like, it's like giant, like 10-inch diameter metal tubes or something like that, and she like busts a chain on it with her magic, and the things come like crashing down on I feel like they roll on him more than they actually physically crash on him. But anyway, the dude ends up getting pinned, if I remember correctly. Knocked over for sure, pinned if I'm remembering correctly, and that was super dope. So anyway, now I always think of Poitrine when I see that kind of stuff. So anyway, next thing, Chuuta's turn was really cool, really interesting. I like how it adds nuance and like texture and dimension to what's going on in this situation, and it like really frames out why we saw Tokime as a femme fatale. Now, I'm not saying she's not a femme fatale, because she definitely is a bit of one. And anyway, but the way she was framed as the witch and such was because of Chuuta and, you know, his real deal, and that was really interesting to see. Also, I love the fact that he ends up getting arrested and that Tokime goes with him. That was huge. That was like a huge surprise for me that she went with him, and I really like how like disappointed in well, I'm going to talk more about that later, so I'm not going to go into it now, but I like that, and I like that Tokime actually, you know, surprise gets to be part of the main cast, partially through her getting arrested and turning herself in and trying to do the right thing despite the fact that she's been a bad girl and done the wrong thing a few times so far that we know of. Who knows what her secret history is, but we'll find that out later, I am sure. And then I like the nods to the new threat that we're getting, and I think it's pretty cool. I think it makes sense what's going on, but I'm a little surprised. I didn't guess that they were going to go here. I thought, especially after seeing the Shadow Fuuto, that this was going to be something completely different, and that we were going to get something unrelated to the Gaia memories, and that Double would just take care of it with the Gaia memories, and of course Philip and Shotaro's you know, excellent detective work. So anyway, moving on from there, going to talk about the misses. Something about Double looks a little bit off, like his eyes are a little too round, or something. Maybe the length of the crusher, which is the jaw portion of the mask, seems a little bit off to me. Seems a little chesty. Like he always had a big chest, but it's almost like that. I can't remember who the comic artist is. Who's that? Rob Liefeld, Captain America. Like it almost reminds me a little bit. I know it doesn't actually look like that, but like something about it at some angles reminds me of that. Maybe it's like the sheen or the way they're like doing the reflections on the armor just looks a little bit off, and it's kind of funny to me. So I don't. And also like some of the lighting and some of this like the more dramatic like posy shots, and I'm not saying, you know, an insult pose, but like, oh, that's a really nice pose, let's get that shot. Some of the lighting is like dialed up, like almost washed out, and like I don't know, just something seems a little bit off. So that's a big complaint, or that's a complaint. And then just the fan service with Tokime. Like I really was enjoying how they've toned her sensuality down, and I thought that was really great. And then it got dialed up at the end of the episode. So that was kind of interesting. I don't remember. I can't remember if I made a note or not, but I thought, oh, this is the Virgin Shotaro versus the Chad Shotaro. We can have kind of going on here, but we're not going to talk about that right now. We might talk about it later, because I don't remember these notes now. They were made very early in the morning. You know, I had questions. Let's see. I have two sections of my notes. Oy vey. So my notes document did not sync fully, so I don't have all my stuff in here, which is a little disappointing. Actually, I'm going to back out of my notes real quick and see if I can refresh them, because I kind of need these notes. These are the case files, and I need to have them complete so I can work with them. Thank you for bearing with me as I refreshed my memory. So here we go. I do have a couple questions about all this mess. First question is, what's up with NEWSEUM? And I will talk more about that later, shed a little more light on that, but just a question I want to pose for y'all to mull over. Next is Shotaro a chaste Chad? That's what it was, a chaste Chad. Like, he wants to be all about women, but he definitely doesn't want to take any steps forward with Tokime, and I thought that was funny. I'm actually surprised they kept it so that he would reject the opportunity that he was being offered, whatever that opportunity was, because we don't really know what it was. It could have been to snore with somebody else. And I'm just really surprised that he rejected it. It kind of warmed my heart a little bit to see that he's so innocent. And I thought, this guy's definitely, he's one of my peeps. He's holding out. He's he's saving himself for the right woman, and I can appreciate that, Shotaro. So I'm with you, dude. Virgin until marriage solidarity, buddy. Okay, anyway, I'm so sorry. Oh, man. So, last thing, is it okay that Tokime is another Philip? And that's something I'd genuinely be curious to hear people answer. And I'm mulling it over myself, and like they pretty much, lampshaded it in the show. And it's not, I don't know if it's bad or good. I'm wondering, but at the same time, I kind of like it. So it works for me. I'm going to go ahead and give you my score for the episode. How am I going to do this? I'm going to give you my score for the episode. Yeah, so I'll do that first, and then I'll tell you what's up next. So, I'm going to give this episode an 8 out of 10. The action was great. The vibe is strongly double. The story is a little more involved than the average episode of the Toku, and I am fascinated to see, and I like that, and I'm fascinated to see this crew integrate and see how Tokume's story, or integrate Tokime into it, and see how her story unfolds. So, I really am very curious about that. So, I'm definitely, I'm open to give it a shot. So, I'm going to go ahead and jump into, I believe, my section where I highlight the worst thing, the best thing, and the most interesting thing in Double. And after that, I would invite you to go ahead and leave if you don't want to hear me kind of wax philosophical in my reflection section, where I'm going to be talking about how do people transform. Obviously, other than with, guy memories. So anyway, bear with me for a few seconds as I move things around and I get into my section where I can more easily do these highlights, basically. I don't know, call them highlights, takes. I'm not sure what to call them, but anyway, I'm doing them, and I'm sharing them with you. So here we go. Just a few more seconds, and I will be into, yes, here it is. What did you think was the worst thing in Kamen Rider W? No, it's not. It's Fuuto PI. In Fuuto PI episode 3. I'm going to say the worst thing for me, and by worst, I mean least best in this case, because there was so much good in this episode. Actually, this entire show is really entertaining me, so I'm really enjoying it. The worst thing, or the least good thing for me, is how they're absolutely nailing the vibe and the look of Kamen Rider W, and Kamen Rider in general. And, like, I'm seeing Shotaro's personality coming out in the poses that he strikes as Double. I'm seeing the viciousness and the, like, tactical takedowns of Philip coming through, because that guy, while he may look a little femmy, he is friggin' hard as nails. And when he clotheslined that Road Dopant, I was so thrilled. And the way that, like, that's an isekai, or not isekai, what do they call that? Gakugo guy? What is it? What do they call it? Isekai is where you go to another world, and the really fancy animation that people get all excited over is called Sakugaburo. Then, like, when Road somehow releases all that fog, and then you get to see Double's glowing eyes in the mist. There's a great a great image from episode 4 or 5 of the original Kamen Rider, where he's standing in the mist like a creeper, and he's like outside of the window of an enemy, and his eyes are glowing, and just it's amazing. I think it's the Mantis episode, but I can't quite remember now. But like, I love how they absolutely captured the vibe and the look of Double, and that was the worst thing that was in Fuuto PI episode 3, because the show's doing really well so far. The best thing, in my opinion, of Fuuto PI episode 3 is the fact that they show that people can be complicated, basically. Broken people are still people, because Chuuta is a broken person, and I'm going to talk about that for a minute or two. And I do want to know, I want to know what you think was the best thing in Fuuto PI episode 3. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, this guy, he's been mocked all his life. He's been looked down upon. He's a country bumpkin who came into Fuuto, into the big city, and I mean, there were fancy people in fancy suits laughing at him in his memories. So, while it's a cool motive, still murder kind of situation, because this guy wants to have this, this memory. He's desperate to have this memory so that he can be a superhuman, so that he can basically, like, trash other people and get off on being better than them and showing them that he's, that he's not just some loser. And that's pretty terrible. It's terrible that he's got that motivation, and it's terrible that people were terrible to him, but it's also kind of understandable. Again, it's a crime. He still deserves to be punished for it, and, he is in the show, so that's great. And I love that the heroes don't let him go because he was, looked down upon and, treated badly by people. But still, I mean, it's wonderful how it's nuanced, and I'm curious to see, because Shotaro was like holding out hope for this guy. He's like, hey, I wanted you to see the best. You like the worst of my city, and I wanted so desperately for you to enjoy the best that Fuuto has to offer. And like, I'm hoping that after you pay your debt, that you'll be able to come back, with me or whatever, and see Fuuto for what it really is, and see the beauty of this place instead of this dark secret underbelly thing that it has to offer you. And I thought that was really awesome, because it not only shows in a really interesting way how complicated Chuuta is, but it also shows how complicated Shotaro is, and I really, really appreciated that. Okay, so I want to know what you think was the weirdest, oddest, strangest, most out of place thing in Fuuto PI episode 3. So to me, it's that apparently this is Tokime's story, and it's less that it's Tokime's story, and it's more how they're very skillfully integrating her into the rest of the cast. She is like Philip because she's an amnesiac. She's like Akiko because she can see through Shotaro's BS, and she's a girl. That's one thing in her favor. I was going to say something weird. I was jokingly going to say they're both waifu material. She has an independent streak, and I would say Akiko definitely has that. So there's two ways they're related to each other, and then obviously there's the attraction between her and Shotaro that I would say is a thing linking them together. But also they're very linked to the memories and this whole mystery. And they have a relationship, they have a bond because they've bumped into each other. No, because she's his client, basically his long-term client. He's trying to figure out what the mystery is for her, and she's his she's his client and he's her detective, so he's taking care of her. So they have that relationship there. Like, there's the he's scared to be in a romantic relationship with her because he's the Chaste Chad, but he wants to be in a relationship with her because reasons. There's a couple of them, and there's this romantic tension, but then there's also this platonic tension between them, which really works, and it's really great. And I think she's just going to be joining in with Philip and Akiko, busting his chops and being mysterious and having her own contributions to the Narumi Detective Agency. And I'm really excited to see how they go forward with that. It should be pretty dope. Okay, and then I've got at least one loose end here. I want to talk about a new threat dawning in the Road Dopant. So, if you're not super familiar with Kamen Rider W, I guess, I don't know, is this like me doing a mini, Kamen Rider W explained? I don't really like those things. They're okay, I guess, but just not really for me. Anyway, so I'm talking about the new threat. This is NEWSEUM 2.0 maybe, which is why I joked about it being called NEWSEUM earlier. Get it? It's a portmanteau. Anyway, so yeah. This guy with the pink or white hair or whatever, I think it's pink, and I think Tokime's hair is pink too, but anyway, they have the same hair, they have the same look. I've speculated already that they're twins, or she's his clone, or his other half, or something in some weird way to make the Gaia memories work again. I guess, spoilers for Kamen Rider W, light spoilers, there was an evil organization called NEWSEUM that had all the memories, and they have the Gaia memory manufacturing plant or whatever. Philip's involved with that. I won't go into how, but he is. That's how he has his set of powers and whatever. It's kind of complicated, and I don't remember it all because I watched Double last 8 years ago or something like that, but I still remember fairly well. Anyway, this guy, so you saw Chuuta when Shotaro acted his toadstool memory. Spoilers for that too. The thing popped up on his arm black, it was square, and then it had tech circuitry pattern stuff coming off of it. That is where regular Dopants put their Gaia memories, and it's unfiltered. It ruins them. It's like injecting meth straight into your veins as opposed to smoking a little bit of weed, I guess, or using a bong or something like that. Not that I've ever, whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so it really messes you up. These people become addicted. They become so jacked up they can't handle it. The memories end up ruining their lives and wrecking them. Versus people who have a belt like this fellow has, which is a belt like the people involved with NEWSEUM, I'll put it that, had. I don't know why I thought all their belts were destroyed, but I guess they weren't, and it stands to reason that they had a selection of belts existing somewhere else, and this guy either found the other belts, him and these other 3 companions of his, for there to be 4 total of these new Dopants, high-level Dopants. They either found them, or they found a scientist who could reproduce them and manufacture them and allow them to be this new set of people going for power, I would assume. And, somehow Tokime is tied into that. But yeah, like that's the new threat. There is a revival of NEWSEUM, or someone has taken the tech from NEWSEUM and they're using it for their own purposes, which we do not know what they are, but I'm sure it's highly, it's integrally tied to, which that's what that means, the Shadow Fuuto. So I'm really interested to see where this goes, and yeah, that's all I have to say on it. Okay, so now for something completely different. I'm going to shift into waxing philosophical for a few minutes. I'm really going to try to keep this under 5 minutes last time. Last time I said that it was like 10 minutes. So anyway, we'll see what happens. But yeah, how do people transform? Obviously not with guy memories. And the reason I'm asking that is why? I guess because Shotaro is changing, and I'm seeing that and I'm kind of impressed by that. But also, why am I asking that? Oh, Chuuta is kind of changing. Like, he was this, nice country boy, and then all of a sudden he's, hooked on dope, and like he lied, and he didn't blackmail or catfish. He I was gonna say slut shame, but that's not the right phrase either. But he basically cast the witch. No, not the witch. He cast Tokime in this very classic, traditional, stereotypical role. And, I bought it hook, line, and sinker, but he did it because he's not just a nice farm boy anymore. He's somebody who has been hurt and who has allowed himself to react to that pain by such negative coping mechanisms that he wants to he basically wants to hurt other people in order to make himself feel better. So he's like your classic bully, but he's willing to defame Tokume's character. He's willing to frame her. He was willing to hire the Yakuza to murder murder Shotaro and Tokime and get that bag back for himself so he could be, and then probably make himself a murderer for hire, poisoning people or whatever with his toadstool memory powers. And it's just really interesting to see, he's so desperate to have something over these people who mocked him. And I think that's really interesting because, obviously we have him going down this dark path and going so far away from the, country bumpkin to this, not city slicker, that's a dumb, I'm just going to say city slicker, who's willing to, he's become this man of the street because he was exposed to this drug. He got the first taste free of that toadstool memory, and he just wanted that power, and he wanted to use it and leverage it against people in such a negative way. So, he changed from who he was into this, terrible person. I don't know. Did he change, or was it revealed who he really was when he got the opportunity? I don't know. That's another whole philosophical debate I don't want to get into. But I just kind of want to mark his change. And maybe if I can't identify why people change or how people transform, I can describe how they transformed. What I'm saying is, I don't know the mechanism, but I can track how people have transformed, just the characters that we've seen in this short time. So Tokime has gone from this femme fatale who was this witch, and she was playing this role to scare the girls away and things like that, to somebody who we now know is, if not a victim, then somebody who's suffering the consequences of some actions that we don't fully understand. She's lost her memories. She, did crimes, which, by the way, the whole wire thing was dumb. Anyway, and, she went to jail, but then she got sprung from jail by Terurio, my man, married to Akiko, and he decided that what she should do is stay with the Normi Detective Agency, that she should assist them, and that she can, in this way, atone for her crimes or make up for it, or kind of doing community service, work for the state, sort of, in order to, or the city of Fuuto, whatever, for the purpose of making amends for what she's done, which is interesting. So she's going to pay her debt to society through working these cases to help, free innocent people, stop property damage, or many different types of things she can do to assist, to assist the people of Fuuto while assisting the the detectives. So it's really interesting to me that she's doing that, and it's interesting to mark that that's how she's transforming, how she's changing. So she went from this honeypot killer monster, culprit, that's who we thought she was, to she's just an innocent woman who while she may have her wiles, still is a good person and is trying to do right by people and is trying to be helpful and be a positive force, be a helpful force to really take her efforts and her energies and do something good with them. And that's what we see. That's what we see. That's the change that we see in her. As far as the others are concerned, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what to say about how the others have changed, because I can't really think of anything off the top of my head real quick. I guess we can say that Shotaro is a little wiser because he's been burned before by hot women, let's just put it that way, because it's a pun and it works. And now he knows to be careful and, not to play with fire, so to speak. So it's interesting to see that he's not just going for the woman, the femme fatale. He's being careful, he's being measured, he's trying to make sure he makes the right move and doesn't get himself in trouble. And I think that's because he's worried about, while she's mostly innocent, that there might be some darkness in her that he doesn't want to deal with or possibly feed, or I'm not sure what or exactly how to say that, but it's really interesting to me that he's doing that. So I do appreciate that, and I like to see that alteration in him. And what else? I think I'm going to stop it right there. I don't want to go on for too long, and I'm about the 5-minute mark, so I'm going to go ahead and stop. I hope you enjoyed the new format where I'm inserting or having my best, worst, whatever, like, I don't know what to call it, the highlights or like the high points or whatever of Double, or rather Fuuto PI, integrated into the actual audio version of the episode. But then you can look for those if you just wanted to see those on the TikTok version of the show. So anyway, I am going to go ahead and get out of here. I leave you with peace and blessings. This is MJ signing off, but I will encourage you to go to mjmoonish.com, find all the other analysis work I'm doing, find all the other stuff I'm doing. I've got art up there, I've got fiction up there. I'm working on a children's series of books, picture books, that are like heavy hitters that I'm going to self-publish, that are going to be very much inspired by Tokusatsu, and I'm working on those. I've got a draft done for one of them is complete, but because of things that happened as I was doing the creative process, I decided I wanted to change stuff up. So I have a draft for what will now be the first book in the series. The original first book in the series is now going to be the second or third. I'm not sure. I think the second. Anyway. And then after I finish outlining this first book, I think I'll outline books 3, 4, and 5. And then I'm going to work on an artist to get everything all coordinated, do a crowdfunding campaign, and hopefully you Toku fans can help me bring these things to life. And I want to do like a kind of rapid release, but I'll get into more of those details later. But I do encourage you to check that out. And you can also, I think in the notes for this, you can find the comic book script that I wrote for a Tokusatsu graphic novel. So if you like that, then hopefully you'll like my children's book too, because it goes hard. I'm going as hard as Super Sentai and Kamen Rider and Ultraman do sometimes, even though they're made for kids. So it's just that kind of mentality. So anyway, check that out, please. And until next time, folks, take care.
This is a part of the Story Over Everything initiative.